You're going down a dark alley.
Yes, I was about to say, is there D&D built into Slack? That would be amazing.
You know what? There probably is, frankly. But I meant do not disturb.
IRC, throw in an egg drop bot. Let me roll a 20-sided die and go down
that must exist
in
somebody's Slack somewhere. Someone has done that.
That's just team building. That's good corporate team building right there.
You take out your staff.
Mm-hmm. You have taken out Janice in accounting. Loot her body? Question mark.
Loot it.
Yeah.
She's in accounting, for goodness sake.
Yeah. I'm just reminded of the BOFH and text adventures that should exist that don't.
Reminds me of Homestar Runner.
Oh, yeah.
I can't remember any of the lines, but that's one of my favorite episodes.
I just want myself a Lappy 386.
Still on bad is one of the lines.
Yeah. Full button and a Lappy together at last. How you squiggy look?
Hey, I found a show called Two More Eggs, which is by
Two More Eggs? Two More Eggs.
Oh, you know it. Okay.
I do.
I couldn't believe it. My kids found it, and I was like, hey, I think this is the Chapmans.
It was playing in between episodes of Star Wars Rebels.
Yeah, right.
One day, which is how I discovered it. Two more eggs?
Yeah,
two more
that's
eggs.
Chapmans, man. That's great. Two more eggs. Two more eggs.
All right, and with that, we begin our broadcast day. Here we go.
Do you struggle to get everything you plan all done in 1 week? Do you sometimes wish you had an extra couple of hours? Or maybe another day? We here at the Daily Tech News Show think the same. And with your help, we can add an extra day to your week. dailytechnewsshow.com/support. With your help. Day 6, coming soon.
This is the Daily Tech News for Friday, January 8th, 2016. I'm Tom Merritt. Joining me, Darren Kitchen is with us, untouched, unsullied by CES. But CES has been brought into your domain, hasn't it, Darren?
It has. I outsourced the CES by Patrick and Shannon going and bringing all the CES goodness back, which is being edited the next door down right now. I'm very excited to see Tech Thing.
And thank Patrick again for joining us earlier in the week. That was awesome having him on.
Yeah, he prayed to the bandwidth lords and they blessed him.
He made the proper sacrifices.
Yeah, you got Ethernet sacrifices. It's a whole ritual.
And of course, with his first illustration of 2016, Len Peralta is joining us this Friday. How are you, sir?
Good, I'm well. Happy New Year to everybody. It's good to be here on a Friday, and it's good to be here for DTNS Year 3. So it's very exciting.
This is the beginning of the third year.
It's crazy.
And they say, like, the third year is when the episodes really get good.
Yeah.
So our apologies in advance.
I think it's going to happen. This year is the year.
Finally, this is it. All right, let's take a look at some headlines. Lenovo says it's going to release a consumer smartphone using Google's Project Tango. That's the depth sensing technology. It should come out this summer for less than $500. They didn't put a specific price on it, though. If you don't know, Project Tango involves some vertically stacked lenses. Those give you color and depth information, and then a wide-angle fisheye lens that adds a kind of a peripheral vision. Project Tango creates a 3D representation of the space you're in, which can then be used for things like augmented reality. They show off like designing your home by putting virtual furniture around so you can see if it would actually fit, or mapping is another thing that it could be used for. The phone will have a Snapdragon processor, a screen between 6 and 6.5 inches, 6 months from launch, and they still don't know. That's a little troubling. And it'll come pre-installed with selected apps that developers can start pitching now. If you want to pitch one, go find out how on Google by February 15th.
Yeah, this is really exciting. I feel like every time there's a new sensor, there's a few very specialized use cases that are pitched to us, and then it's once they actually become available to developers and then they combine with other sensors, they get truly amazing things. And so I guess I'm just saying I'm really looking forward to the kind of the trickle-down effect of all of this new technology, much of which just being spearheaded by self-driving cars, too. So that's really neat.
Well, yeah, I made a crack on Twitter the other day because there were so many people pitching 360-degree video, even in cameras that only have one camera. They're like, oh, you just buy two and then you can get 360-degree video. I was like, someone by the end of this year will be promoting their phone as able to do 360-degree video because you got two cameras usually, a front and back camera. And a few people are like, well, you could actually need fisheye lenses. Here's one that's got one fisheye lens on it. So I also think Project Tango has been a little bit, like you say, underdeveloped because they've had the developer tablet, but people really haven't wanted to develop for it because there wasn't a consumer product. So this is the kick in the pants it needs.
Well, that's just the Google Glass effect, I feel like.
Yeah.
Where it's like really cool technology, new way to implement things that we already had in a different way. But this is bringing, new sensors, or at least sensors that weren't generally available to the public in this fashion. So that's what's exciting.
Lenovo also ditching a vestige of Google, the Motorola brand name. Don't forget Lenovo bought Motorola Mobility from Google in 2014. They will continue to use the Moto brand name. That'll stick around for high-end phones, but all their budget devices, whether they were previously a Motorola type or not, will be using Lenovo's Vibe brand. The high-end Moto phones will feature the blue Lenovo logo on them. They are keeping the Batwing M, though, for the Moto phones.
This is the kind of move that makes me think that big established companies with their, strong brands and their long legacies, think Motorola and their StarTAC phones and such. Do they look at Silicon Valley startups as the new popular kid in town, while at the same time the new popular kid in town looking at it completely opposite?
Yeah. Well, I guess the idea was that people like the Moto X, but people generally don't think of Motorola as making modern phones, so just drop the name. I mean, it's all a market. It's
but
all
other
naming.
big companies don't have problems with this. Like, look at Westinghouse. I mean, you go back to like the 1800s with that stuff.
I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think of a good counter example because I know there are. There are some. Yeah, Sony changed its name, but I can't remember what its original name was. The Hollerith Tabulating Company, for instance. They ended up having to change their name to the International Business Machines.
Damn, I was actually
that
about to use IBM as my example. So you beat me. Wow.
That's a deep cut. I know. That took some. I'm out of breath now. Verge reports Microsoft has published a cellular data app to the Windows Store that at least describes the ability to let Windows 10 devices connect to mobile network operators using a Microsoft account without a contract. The app's listing says it requires a Microsoft SIM card, although no one knows that such a thing exists. Plans can be found by, or will be able to, one would assume someday, be found by selecting cellular data from the Wi-Fi icon and then purchasing it using your Windows Store login, so your Microsoft account. It sounds like a prepaid system, whether it would be an MVNO or whether it's more like Apple's SIM card, or it just allows you to choose between different carriers. I don't know.
Well, I do like the concept of it letting you choose between carriers and kind of just making carriers become what they are, which is, the copper wire, or in this case, the airwaves.
The carrier of
the
your
carrier?
data?
Oh, they just carry the packets. Oh, is that why you're named carriers? But at the same time, I see this and I'm like, oh, that's really cool. I can't wait to get my Linux SIM card that does the same thing. Oh, wait. Oh, you're telling me that I'm going to have to comply with all of these esoteric and outdated wiretapping laws? Yeah, I don't think so. I have a weird sneaking suspicion that that of all of the OS vendors, only Microsoft and Apple would be able to do this.
Could Mark Shuttleworth do something like this, or no?
No, there have been other hacker uncarriers attempted in the past that have been shut down before they even started because they wanted to do cool things with crypto that when it comes to telecommunications just will not pass. So it's cool, but I want to see some security research done on this. Obviously it's tied to your Microsoft account. Anyway, I still say if you want prepaid data, walk into a T-Mobile with some cash and write your name down on the Post-it note like they ask you to.
It's not news that my wife works at YouTube, but it is news that YouTube Chief Business Officer Robert Kinsel announced that YouTube will soon support HDR video. That's the high contrast, high color 4K video that everyone says actually makes a difference when you look at it. And so following the trend of the digital properties bringing you the higher resolutions first. YouTube's on board. Netflix and Amazon also already have some high definition HDR content. YouTube and GoPro also announced a partnership to bring more 360-degree content to YouTube. They have a lot of that already, but GoPro plans to launch a more casual spherical capture camera soon. So I would assume that means one that costs less than $1,000.
I would hope so. I'm actually really excited about this kind of stuff just because I want to stick something 30 grams or less on a quadcopter and experience that kind of, like fly it once fixed and then get to experience it again where you can look all around. And I've done that in experimenting with some Facebook friends and such, and it's really cool when you do. But what had previously been available pre-CES 360 camera-wise, really expensive, really heavy, really low quality. But the pixel density stuff, or not the color depth stuff, that's what's really cool. I feel like, we've seen this before, and it's the continual trend. Once you do VGA 640 by 480, get your 8-bit pixels. The next obvious thing is to go 640 480 with SVGA. You need some high color for that. Go 15-bit pixel. At a certain point, you go XGA. Get yourself some 1024 by 768. At that point, you need 16-bit colors. I mean, it continues on and on. QSXGA, 24-bit color. I mean, this is what we see. It's like more resolution than more bits.
I think HDR is more likely to sell some TVs because
that's the thing. It's got the marketing name. It doesn't sound like XSGA with high color or true color. Like what?
Yeah. But there are a couple of 8K TVs now available. They're hundreds of thousands of dollars. They're ridiculous. They're like 93 inches too. But I think LG finally announced that they'll be shipping one this summer to the 4 people who can afford it. But I do think that I might try to hold out for 8K. I'll see if I can, because as good as HDR looks, and it is significantly different, 8K allows you to do cool things that 4K kind of allows you to do. But when you got that many pixels, you can do all kinds of digital zooms that don't look like digital zooms. Things just look like a photograph on paper. And I feel like that's when, like, HDR will make a better looking picture, and that'll be awesome. But I feel like with 8K, we might start to get functionally different video as well.
So do you feel like perhaps it would be an easy analogy to sum up by saying that you feel that 4K currently is the 720 of HD?
Yeah, kind of. I think that's a fair way of putting it.
8K is the full HD.
And then HDR would be the 1080i.
Yeah, okay.
And 8K becomes the 1080p.
Don't even invoke interlacing. I don't like the word.
Oops, sorry. I forgot this was a family show. Nonprofit news organization ProPublica launched a version of its website as a hidden service on the Tor network Wednesday. ProPublica says it wants to offer the best possible privacy protections to people who read its articles. Hosting the site this way makes it less likely somebody could tell that you read the article at ProPublica, for example, through a malicious exit node that would log the visit to the normal ProPublica site, even if it was SSL. So we'll talk more about this in a little bit, but not the first. Facebook has a hidden service on Tor as well, but a significant step, and it gives us a chance to kind of talk about the dark web and what it actually means. Captain Kipper wanted us to mention that U.S. Marshals shut down the CES booth of Changzhou First International Trade Company Thursday over a patent dispute with U.S.-based Future Motion over a self-balancing skateboard, aka hoverboard. Both companies sell a one-wheeled version of the boards. Future Motion launched its version at CES in 2014. They had a successful Kickstarter after that. And then on Tuesday, they filed a motion in federal court. After a 7-minute telephone hearing yesterday, U.S. District Judge Miranda Du issued the order to seize products and stop sales by Changzhou First International. Changzhou can present a defense in a hearing scheduled in Las Vegas, January 14th.
Tom, I don't know all the details of this story, but in my imagination, the U.S. Marshals actually stormed the booth on hoverboards and then proceeded to dismantle their booth to much fanfare. It was quite a spectacle, in fact.
Yeah, I intentionally don't call these raids anymore because it's exactly what it sounds like. When you read the headlines like U.S. Marshals raid booth at CES, it's like you imagine them going in guns drawn on hoverboards.
On hoverboards.
Yeah, and coming in by drone And
Right, as
just
all future police will.
yeah, and it's not what happened. A couple of U.S. Marshals quietly walked up, showed him the paperwork, said, "I'm sorry, we have a court order to shut you down. We're going to be seizing your property here as evidence. Here's your hearing on January 14th." And it definitely stopped some traffic because people with U.S. Marshals jackets were doing it. But I don't think it was, guns a-blazing or anything. And the most significant part of this story is that they were able to get the judge to do it so quickly. And they say because it was CES and CES is so huge, that's how they were able to convince the judge to make it an emergency order.
Yeah, no, they had a 7-minute hearing. That's like 6 minutes more than the FISA court does.
Well, it's a Las Vegas judge. They're like, it's at CES. Oh, I know how big that crap is. It shuts down my city. Yeah, you're getting an emergency order.
Yeah. Or my city is dependent on this thing.
Yes, exactly. Yes. 9 to 5 Mac's Mark Gurman has sources that say Apple is prototyping a set of Bluetooth headphones to be sold separately, but launched at the same time as the next iPhone. The earbuds are separate from each other, too. No connecting wire, but will support a noise-canceling microphone system somehow. At least that's what the sources say. These same sources also say that, yes, the next iPhone will not have a standard headphone jack. You can currently use Bluetooth or the Lightning port for your audio listening, and I guess that's what you would be stuck with in the next iPhone if this turns out to be true. Separately, T-Glass 1976 pointed out Mac Rumors notes that Apple registered the domain names apple.car, apple.cars, and apple.auto in December.
Yeah, this is so cool. This is about time. I feel like, you saw the 2000 era Bluetooth bling, and I felt like we were nearing the end of that. And it had the inherent problem that you could only see the techno bling on like one side of a user's head. But with wireless stereo headphones from Apple, problem solved, right?
Yeah, I'll never lose one of those, right? I'll never be in a situation where I forgot to charge them in their separate charge carrying case and wish that I had a dumb pair of headphones that I could just plug right in.
Well, there will be a cottage market of adapters.
And exactly. Certainly never was frustrated by the fact that I had to constantly carry an adapter for the very first generation of the iPhone, which didn't have a standard headphone jack. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that future.
Yeah, exactly where I was going. And I wonder if this is like Apple just like has a thing with all the has some sort of tie-in with all of the accessory makers. Like, oh, no, we're going to put a flaw in, so you're going to need a rubber case around it.
Yeah, yes. Why not?
Sure.
Like, it fits the profile.
Yeah, they're like, well, the margin on the really expensive iPhone is but rubber cases, whoa, 10 cents off the assembly line.
Yeah, and 10 cents off the assembly line, as I'm sure you well know, can save you a lot of money over the course of a huge production run.
We can talk later.
Dr. Zephyr89 wanted us to mention the court's report that doctors from Nicholas Children's Hospital in Miami used Google Cardboard and an iPhone to view 2D MRI scans that had been converted to a 3D model in preparation for surgery to rebuild the aorta of a 4-month-old baby girl. When they only had the 2D scans, they weren't confident enough to say that it was operable, but once they were able to model it 3D, they were able to plan out their surgery to a level they said, yes, we can do this, and it was a successful surgery.
Was this not also a Disney movie in the 70s?
It will be. Yeah. Brought to you, it'll be a Pixar movie, obviously. Right. Yeah.
Now, that's fantastic. I feel like Cardboard is not cool enough of a name for this in that case.
Well, yeah, and you can overdo the cardboard aspect of this, but what's awesome is that these doctors said, well, wait a minute, can't we use this stuff? We've got this stuff. We don't care if it came from a big expensive medical equipment place, as long as it works, as long as we're confident that we're getting the right data. And they went ahead and tried it and saved a baby's life because of it. So,
well, we're going to need to pass like more HIPAA compliance laws that prevent doctors from using readily accessible technology off the shelf.
Aren't these doctors fitting the definition of hacker?
Is hacking the body not being a doctor?
They're using technology in a way that was not presented to them to use it that way necessarily, and saying, oh, well, we could use it this way. Yeah, And then
Well, you
happy.
see, Tom, they're not actually members of the MIT Model Railroad Club. So technically, they're not hackers.
Wait, did these doctors invent Bitcoin? Is that what you're saying?
What I'm saying is Satoshi Nakamoto is on General Hospital right now. You
All
should
right.
go watch it.
We diverted quickly. Ars Technica reports General Motors has launched a vulnerability submission program for security researchers in partnership with HackerOne. Guidelines include not endangering customers, that's a good one, not violating privacy or breaking the law. Researchers are also asked not to disclose the flaw until GM fixes it. That can be problematic in certain cases, of course. Security vulnerabilities can be reported at hackerone.com/GM, and also GM not yet offering a bug bounty.
I really hope this goes better than the, was it United Airlines vulnerability program where they were like, oh yeah, hack us and give us your bug reports. Don't touch anything.
Yeah, this one seems like, I mean, they're using HackerOne, which I don't know what the reputation of that is, but they administer many security reporting systems for people. So that seems like a good idea for GM to not try to roll their own. I think that's a positive step. And just the fact that they're willing to do it at all, rather than just try to sue anybody that exposes a vulnerability, is great. I think they should do a bug bounty. I think they should make some provisions for reverse engineering that would otherwise be illegal under the DMCA, although those rules are changing with the Library of Congress exemption, so maybe they don't have to bother with that. But it's a good thing to see a major car company at least taking this one step, don't you think?
Yeah, absolutely. And it wouldn't hurt to. I don't feel like a bug bounty is. Honestly, I really don't think bug bounty is necessary. I mean, hackers that, security researchers, I should use the word, that do this, don't do it because they think they might get a free car or something. It's just inherent in being a hacker. So. But no, it's a move in the right direction, and cars are a lot more accessible than 737s. So.
And GM has, and several companies have become, it seems like, a little bit faster than they were back when it would take them 5 years to fix a security vulnerability. So it feels like maybe they're finally taking this seriously, and I hope that's true.
I hope this is a trend that continues throughout the year.
Bloomberg reports Yahoo is reassessing whether it should split itself into two companies as previously planned, or just sell the company outright. There's a little bit of activist shareholder brinksmanship involved in this. The consideration is ongoing, and no financial institute has been hired to manage a potential sale. So this is all just Bloomberg saying, we hear they're doing this, but the saga of what Yahoo will do by the end of the year continues. May she find her way, Yahoo, into that great web. I guess Verizon wants to buy them, so they could merge them with AOL.
Oh, they'll buy
it. Finally be Yahoo-L.
Yeah. They'll buy Spectrum, and that's not even real.
And the state of New York approved Time Warner Cable and Charter's merger, which they still need Department of Justice and FCC approval for, but another step there. So we're going to have all kinds of new companies by the end of 2016, folks. Wait and see. That's a look at the headlines. Don't forget, submit some stories at our subreddit, dailytechnewsshow.reddit.com. Helps us figure out what to talk about each and every day. We appreciate everybody in there, and especially appreciation to our moderators in there. They are the folks who make this such a nice place to go and submit a story. And it's easy for me to look at it and say, oh, okay, those things are getting some votes. That's who submitted it. It's awesome. So I want to make sure I don't forget anybody. Scotty Rowland, Seb Gons, TG Stellar, all the mods, and Kyle doing God's work, keeping the spam at bay, as he calls himself, the janitor. So thank you, all of you, for making dailytechnewsshow.reddit.com a nice place to submit a story idea. ProPublica, hidden service on Tor. As I mentioned, SSL will encrypt data. So you could say, well, why does ProPublica need to do this? You can securely connect to their site. But Darren, if I have this right, you can still be vulnerable at the exit node, at the point where you leave the Tor browser and connect to the site server, even in SSL. So if you're a hidden service within Tor, you're much more well protected. Is that right?
No, absolutely, because it's those exit nodes that I mean, I'm just, this is straight tinfoil hat, but I'd assume, considering how easy it is to create an exit node and how valuable the data that you can gather is, that many exit nodes might be run by nation-state actors and other such actors that may not be have your best interests mind, that's no reason not to use the Tor service, because the Tor's service is so much more than just being able to browse the plain text web. What are we going to call the light web? I don't like calling it the light web because there's
I hear some people call it the clear web because it's in clear text.
Oh, I like that.
But I guess it's not always if it's SSL.
It really depends on how many midichlorians you have. But
here's the thing. Here's the thing. Real quick, I want to point out to people that the reason ProPublica is doing this is the idea was given to them when they were doing an article about Chinese online censorship, and they said, well, shoot, even if you're in China and you're using Tor, that exit node might reveal who you are, and then the state might say, well, hold on, these people are reading this censorship article and they're not supposed to, because it's not supposed to come through the firewall. And so as the developer for ProPublica, Mike Tigas, said, we don't want anyone to know that you came to us or what you read there. And that's one thing that the dark web is for. It is, I'm not going to lie, it's mostly used for illegal things right now. But that doesn't mean that that's what it should be used for, or that it's valueless to you. The internet, the clear web, is also used for lots of illegal things as well. But over time, more and more people are using it for legitimate things, so we don't think of it that way as much.
Right. I mean, on the clear web right now, we have cool things like HTTPS that protect our traffic to a certain degree. Like I'm using HTTPS on Google right now, and it's protecting my session cookie and my account and things of that nature. But I still went to the URL https://google.com/search?Q equals do I have cancer? I wonder what was on that page. It's kind of obvious. The difference here in the hidden services of the dark web is that we don't know that you even went to the website. Not that the website was encrypted when you got there, but the concept that there's no ability to tie a user to a server because of the way that the infrastructure works. It's actually really cool the way it works too, because the endpoints don't even know the server, and so the hidden service is truly hidden. It's actually really cool. There's 3 hops between the server and you and the intermediaries, so it takes 7 hops to get to hidden service. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, the torproject.org has a great description of how it works if you're into that sort of thing. If you understand how public keys and private keys work, you should easily be able to understand it. We'll throw a link to that in the show notes. But like I said, and I can't emphasize this enough, there's a lot of crime that is happening because of the dark web, but that doesn't mean the dark web is for crime. Facebook has a hidden Tor service. Now, everything you do on that service is known by Facebook, so you could argue whether that's worth anything or not. But definitely no one knows that you're going to Facebook other than Facebook at that point, which can be valuable in places where Facebook may be banned. There's deep.web has been around for a while doing dark web news. There's deep web radio. And actually, deep web radio is a great example of what a URL looks like. If you're not understanding this, the easy way to do it is to download the Tor browser and then find a wiki of links to these hidden services. Now, the hidden services aren't going to be like links you would see on the clear web. They're not going to say, ProPublica.com. They're going to say 76QGH5376 because they're encrypted, and then maybe a / for a subdirectory. So I included a link. It won't work in your regular browser, but if you have the Tor browser, you can try it out, and it doesn't go to anything illegal, as far as I know. If it goes to anything illegal, it would be a copyright violation. It's Deep Banjo Radio. And so when you think of the dark web as being this place full of, crime and porn and dark stuff, I suggest you try it out starting with Deep Banjo Radio, because then it'll be full of wholesome, lovely banjo music.
Right. Yeah, no, that's good stuff. Wikipedia actually has a list of hidden services. They kind of rank them as of 2015. They say that the majority of it in order goes from drugs to markets to fraud, Bitcoin, mail, wiki, whistleblower, counterfeit forms, anonymity, hacking, stuff like that. But at the same time, you do have, the Facebook on there. Of course, and they the reason that those URLs are really weird, like Facebook's is Facebook core wwwi.onion, is because it has to be 16 characters for the crypto. But that notwithstanding, the difference here, though, is like, sure, it's cool that Facebook does that, and it's like, hey, we're on the dark web now, and they get points for whatever points are assigned there. But at the end of the day, Facebook also knows who you are when you log in. I want to see more services adopting this sort of stuff. We see, mainstream search engines like DuckDuckGo, but we don't see mainstream search engines like Google. And I think having a Google on the dark web, I hate saying that word, would be kind of awesome.
Well, it's a little bit bulky, but you could just say a Tor hidden service. Google
Yeah,
as a Tor hidden service would be fantastic.
And Tor isn't the only quote-unquote dark web area. There's I2P and several other services that do a similar fashion.
And that's the thing, is it's a little bit Wild West. If you want to recapture the spirit of the 90s here, go try out some of these services, because like Darren said, there's not just one. Tor is the most popular one probably, and or maybe the one most people are aware of, even if it's not the most popular. And also, you have to be as careful as you should be on the web every day, but you should be extra careful about what sites you visit and what you do there, not because you're going to get caught. That's, it's private and anonymous, but you could be giving money to someone, or end up getting scammed possibly. But that's true of the regular web as well, right?
Yeah, definitely. And I feel like, yes, going back to obviously Tor is the most popular in that, I would say, given in September, ICANN assigned .onion as a protected special use domain. We're seeing more sites getting on a .onion, not just Facebook. ProPublica is joining the ranks of The Intercept. Well, actually, The Intercept just has a secure drop. They don't actually have like the magazine.
Yeah, and a lot of publications do that. The New Yorker, Guardian, they all have secure drops for whistleblowers who don't want to get caught.
Right, but I think what's really beautiful here is acknowledging the fact that it's nobody's business what site I went to. Right. I would love to see this really take off in a more mainstream way. I mean, I think Facebook is about as mainstream as you can get in this day and age, and they're built on an entire advertising model, and yet they were still able to do this. Now, obviously, they already know who you are when you log in, and they don't lose anything by using it. For them, it's just a different network, right? Yeah. It doesn't actually change anything. It's kind of an underlying infrastructure issue, and so it doesn't change their business model any. But if that's the case, then I would love to see more mainstream services adopt this. And then down the road, what I would love to see is these kind of concepts like Tor hidden services and these kinds of security means that we use to protect things like our passwords. We decrypt passwords now instead of doing them in MD5, which is easily crackable. I would like to see that same sort of attention actually put on the message, right? Not just the medium. And it's not inconceivable to imagine a social network whereby the actual platform can't see the messages of those participants, and no other eavesdropper would even know that you participated in a social network. And that's not like spooky. That's actually really cool. That should just become the norm.
Well, in a world where everyone's talking about backdoors and we are legitimately trying to figure out how to deal with recruitment into terrorist organizations online, this could sound crazy. Like, why would you want to give people more ability to hide? But again, I hold to the idea that the bad folks are going to find the ability to hide because it's math. You can't outlaw math. And if they have the ability to hide, there's no reason to prevent the rest of us from having that same ability to decide who we share our information with. But it is, I mean, how much of can you do in that situation to combat that sort of thing? It becomes a huge social problem and a political problem as well. So if you disagree, you may say, well, I don't think the Tor browser should happen, in which case you're just going to relegate it to people who can figure out how to roll these services. The other side of it, though, is if you are worried about being spied upon by your own government, you may think I'm talking about the U.S., you may think I'm talking about China. I'm talking about both. I'm talking about all the governments or corporations who want to follow you around with cookies and find out all these things about you. Maybe they don't even think it's for a nefarious reason, but it could turn into one later. If you want to comfortably be able to say, look, I want to watch the things that I want to watch without anyone knowing that I watched them, then this service is important.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like we're in an era where companies are trying to regain trust, especially American companies in a post-Snowden era. They need to regain trust from consumers, and a lot has been done in just the last year to do that, and it's spurred up an entire second-generation crypto debate. And so this is the sort of thing where we have the technology. We should just embrace it more.
Yeah, and no matter what side of that argument you come on, and I know many of you come on the other side from me, knowing about this stuff is a good thing. You want to investigate this to find out how it works, even if you want to combat the people who use it, because it's just better to educate yourself and know, like, okay, what really does go on there. And that's one of the reasons I want to point out, like, hey, there's Facebook, now there's ProPublica, and there's DuckDuckGo, and there's banjo music. You know, like, it's not all nefarious stuff. It's not all meant to cause harm. A lot of it is just meant for people to have a breathing space away from the panopticon that has become the modern internet with cookies and surveillance, etc.
Yeah, hopefully we see in 2016 a land grab for .onion domains. I mean, well, unfortunately, it is kind of weird that they have to be 16 characters, but does goog.onion exist? You know, they need to think about getting in on this.
That would be amazing.
Or at least reserving it before it's gone. I mean, ICANN says that's protected, so
yeah,
this is here to stay, I feel like.
No, that's really cool. And Mr. Green in the chat room said sometimes people call it the deep web. Deep web is a more all-encompassing term. It's an older term. I remember we did screensavers segments about the deep web, which is things that aren't generally indexed by search engines. So databases, service systems count there as well. And those things that are stored in a database are not necessarily the dark web. They're the deep web. So it's a subset. I don't know if that helps.
Like deep web is like page 20 of your Google search result. Whereas dark web isn't on the search result.
Well, actually, I don't even think page 20 of Google search counts, because that's indexable. I think there's a database of travel information, and not all of it gets returned by Travelocity, but what's in that database is the deep web, because it's there, and theoretically you could get to it, but it's not going to come up in a Google search.
But I think maybe the quote-unquote dark web may have a better chance of success, at least commercially and with consumer adoption, if perhaps, especially, soon after seeing Star Wars for the second time, we don't call it the dark web.
Should we call it the light web? Because it brings a light of privacy.
It brings.
No, it seems like doublespeak. Deep web's a better sounding term, though, even if it's not entirely accurate. I don't know. It's the private web.
The not naked web.
Yeah, the clothes. Put some clothes on web. Well, it's kind of not that either.
Well, depends on which onion site you go to.
Yeah, that's true. But that's no different than the rest of the internet. I guess that's my point. Is like this is just a way to securely host sites. Mm-hmm. It gets rid of all kinds of vulnerabilities and risks and things beyond just surveillance. And
this isn't the end of the story either. No. I mean, this is like HTTPS in the 90s, and we're going to be having this discussion again in another decade or so, when there's something that has to be even more secure than what we have right now.
Do you think there's a chance that the dark web ends up becoming the mainstream web at some point?
I mean, that brings up the question about Internet 2, or there's a new protocol that's going to replace the web, and really what we've seen is slowly but surely tiny little bits of HTTP be augmented with additional technologies. For some reason I can't think of any of the acronyms off the top of my head, but I know that Speedy, for example, is one. Yeah. So I think it's a slow progress, and I think that the web is changing without us noticing it under our feet, but this is more of a very noticeable change. But in the technology sense, but then again, once you start using it, okay, so it says .onion instead of .org. Cool, whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Go download the Tor browser, get the Banjo link out of our show notes, and enjoy. And then you'll see oh, this just works like the web. Our pick of the day comes from, somebody didn't put their name in the right place, and then I didn't copy it. Scott Johnson drew a comparison between the community which may form around the gamification in the Chevy Bolt to users of the Apple II who liked to get together in the 70s and 80s to share their experiences. I have a pick for anyone who wants to get together with the diehards who still love their Apple II. The 28th annual Kansas Fest will be held in July 2016. July 2016. It takes place in a university dorm, giving it a summer camp for geeks feel. Sessions are presented by fellow attendees and feature the cool projects different people are working on. Lots of hardware and software hacking goes on late into the night. Although it's Apple II focused, there has been an Atari and a Tandy Coco contingent in the last couple of years. More than 70 people attended in 2015, which makes the group small enough to feel comfortable without being overwhelming. So if you grew up with the classic 8-bit computers and you have nostalgia for 6502 assembly, you should visit kansasfest.org and join us this summer, says our picker.
Awesome. Can I throw in one quick pick since we're on the subject of tour?
Yeah, you do that. Oh, it's I think it's Jeremy. Thank you. Co-executive producer from Frosty, Ottawa. Thank you, Jeremy.
Awesome, Jeremy. You know, maybe Jeremy would also like to use tor2web.org. That's the number 2. And basically all you have to do is add a .to to the end of any .onion, and you can get there without having to install the Tor browser. I mean, you should still install the Tor browser. But if you want to get to those banjos quicker, just put a .to at the end.
Can you write that on line 36 in the show notes for people? That's awesome.
Do.
Just a .to. Hey, send your picks to us, folks. Feedback at dailytechnewsshow.com. You can find more picks at dailytechnewsshow.com/picks. We talked about the idea of message apps replacing the phone number yesterday, and our very own Patrick Beja sent in the following comment.
Hey Tom, Patrick here. I was walking around in Paris, you know, with wind in my scarf and cheese under my arm? Anyway, I was listening to the show yesterday where you were talking about SMSs and messaging apps and whether or not the SMS and the phone number could go away anytime soon. And I thought it was very reminiscent of the discussion between the mobile phones and the landlines, and whether or not the landlines, whether or not people could do away with a landline. It was, I guess the discussion started in the 2000s at some point. I think I remember that the landlines, the absolute necessity for a landline disappeared a lot quicker than we thought it would. And I know that a lot of people now don't even have a landline phone number. So I thought it was reminiscent of that, and it might indicate that, you know what, SMSs might go away at some point faster than we think they will. But we'll see. Anyway, have a good rest of the week. Bye, and hi, Darren and Len. Bye.
I feel like that's a really good point. And every time I try to think of a counter to it, it sounds like people saying the same thing about landlines going away. Like, yeah, but the problem is getting what about relying on the service? It's like, well, you know what? Yeah, mobile service isn't as great as a landline, but you can totally get by without it.
Yeah, these horseless carriages just don't know the way back to the farm for me. You know?
No, I think I've been succumbing to old man theorem and saying, but SMS is the way we do it. And while it may be difficult to find a platform or even a couple of platforms everybody can rely on, we've got some emails here that show that the winds of change are blowing that way. Ian wrote in saying he does prefer text messages for people he talks to often, but he finds Facebook Messenger useful for getting in touch with folks he hasn't talked to in a while. He writes, people my age are constantly breaking or losing their phones, so you have no way of ensuring that a number in your phone's address book is up to date. Facebook, unlike a phone number, is tied directly to a person. I know that I will not get a sorry wrong number bro response when using Facebook Messenger. I doubt that the number I have for my best friend from 7th grade is accurate, but I know that the dude posting photos of him and his girlfriend at the beach is truly him. And then Sakani adds, I have 4 siblings who are in college. They all have smartphones, but whether or not they decided to buy a prepaid cellular service plan at every given time is a toss-up. The only reliable way I can contact them is WhatsApp. They technically have phone numbers still, but I can't remember the last time anyone used them. Also, why WhatsApp? The difference with WhatsApp or Line is there's no need to create an account or remember a password. You just pick a username, add your friends, and go.
Hey, teenagers that are listening right now, you want to really freak out your friends? Dial them. No, with the phone and make it ring.
Yeah.
Then say
they'll wonder what app that is.
Right. Be like,
yeah.
What's popping up?
And then finally, Rich from lovely Cleveland wrote in and said, I know 3D has been a frequent topic on the show of late, but the email on VR accessibility for the visually impaired and the subsequent talk of creating auditory cues for the blind got my head swimming in the crazy complexity of 3D sound. Little research surfaced that at least Oculus is taking this seriously, as they've licensed RealSpace 3D for their proprietary tech to make this work in virtual worlds. As for meat space recordings, I didn't see any 360-degree or insert correct pi-r steradian DOF nomenclature camera makers talking about how they stitch sound together to form a 3D representation. Could you even do this from one Omni mic or other representations? So I did some further searching and found an interesting article on Ella VR that goes into various approaches to handle VR. It's elevr.com. In film, everything from do nothing to panning between binaural recordings. Doesn't approach it from an accessibility perspective, but it shows that the best approach for this, even on a research and professional level, is still very much in the air. It's from 2014, but I still don't see a ton out there on the subject. Thought it was an interesting read. We'll have a link to the elevr.com story about this in our show notes. Yeah, how do you make VR accessible, Darren? Do you know?
I have no idea, but that's so cool.
Yeah, somebody needs to do it. Thank you, Darren Kitchen. As always, hack5.org, hak5.org is the place to go. You've got a very special episode of Hack 5 coming up and tons of content from CES coming through the warehouse on Tech Thing with Shannon and Patrick. What can you tell us?
I don't know about CES. I've been waiting for Shannon to get back. She's finishing the edit now, so I'm excited to see Tech Thing, TEKTHING, with Patrick Norton and Shannon Morse. And then on Hack 5, we are doing a little tribute, much like we did to the movie Hackers not too long ago. We're doing a tribute to the Hacker Manifesto, which turns 30 years old today. So if you want to know more about phrases like, this is our world now, the world of the electron and the switch, the beauty of the bod, and other things that aren't quite as dated, tune into Hack 5 a little later today. It's good stuff.
hak5.org. Len Peralta has been busily illustrating the show. What have you done to our web, Len?
well, I'm interested in the dark web. I have read a lot. I've actually seen a documentary on it and heard there was a Radio Lab actually about the dark net. And I bet you if I did it, I would do it all wrong. I mean, you've given me a little bit more confidence in trying to explore it. But I like to think of a dark web where even on the dark net, you still get suckered into clicking on BuzzFeed lists. So there's 33 things those who have taken down a city infrastructure via BBS will get. That's a little list there.
That's
on
amazing.
This drawing. I know this is not exactly what you were talking about. I like to, embellish, but it is a
no. I love. First of all, it's an amazing Grim Reaper that you have created here, and second of all, I love the idea of somebody like getting into the dark web. Like, yeah, man, I'm cool. I'm in the dark web, and then just get suckered into clickbait still.
Right, exactly. That's what you're trying to avoid. Eventually, everything gets mixed up and messed up by BuzzFeed lists. That's what I think.
Even the Grim Reaper of the dark web can't resist 33 things.
Exactly.
Well, and it kind of, in a roundabout way, goes to my same point, which is it's still just the web. It's still just people making things. We can do it. It's a little bit of a chance to start over again.
Tom, you're underselling it. Look, we need more people on the Onion services. We need more people on the darknet. Just tell them there's cool stuff like animated GIFs of under construction links and mailboxes.
It really is the spirit of the 90s. That's been fantastic. LenPeraltaStore.com, obviously, if you want to take a look at that or even purchase a print for yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Great.
Thank you to our patrons, dailytechnewsshow.com/support. You make the show possible. If you get value out of the show and you want to give some value back, by all means, please help us out. Patreon.com/DTNS. Also, I'm doing a talk at a conference for designers called Convey UX in February on the Internet of Things. Len is going to be there too. Len, you illustrate at this conference, right?
Yes, I do. I've been doing it for the past 2 years, and I'm excited to do it again this year and have you be there as well. That's going to be great. great.
Yeah, that's going to be fun. I'm going to give a talk on the Internet of Things, and then we're going to do the Daily Tech News Show there with Len illustrating. There'll be a bunch of professional designers in the audience, so this is my chance to get some of your ideas / complaints about the design of Internet of Things in front of people who can do something about it. It'd be helpful to me if you could answer a few quick questions. Big thanks to the hundreds of people who have already done this. If you hadn't, take a couple minutes, go to bit.ly/IoT questions. There's like 4 or 5 questions on there, and just let me know what you think of the Internet of Things. It'll help out the talk. Stay tuned if you're listening to the audio version for a special final CES report from Allison Sheridan, or if you're watching the video, you can find it in the treasure chest, available to the Patreon backers at the $5 level, or we'll have a link to it in the show notes. Our email address is feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com. You can give us a call, 512-59-DAILY. That's 512-593-2459. Catch the show live Monday through Friday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern at alphageekradio.com and diamondclub.tv. And visit our website, dailytechnewsshow.com. Back on Monday with the return of Veronica Belmont. Talk to you then.
This show is part of the Frog Pants Network. Get more at frogpants.com.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.
Yo.
Oh, no.
What I
No.
You recorded it, right?
I did, but I recorded on the wrong profile.
Oh, no.
Do you want to do it again?
Yeah, can we do it again?
Okay.
No, it's fine. I just have to wait for the YouTube video.
Oh no.
Oh, really?
To be able to publish the audio. Yeah.
Oh. Are you using YouTube DL, by the way?
No.
It's a command line program, Windows, Mac, Linux. It's YouTube-DL, and the only parameter you have to give it is the YouTube URL, and it just
full
grabs the
URL?
highest quality version. But if you want, you can pass it a flag that'll let you specify just audio, and it'll give you a wave. Or an
Oh,
MP3.
that's cool.
Yeah. It's what they use
Downloading
at YouTube, where your wife works,
that
for which I have a T-shirt of.
now.
I thought you were going to say that you only recorded you.
I did. I used the sword and laser profile,
Oh,
which
okay.
only records me. So I have a lovely recording in the sword and laser Dropbox of just me. So, and the sad thing is, you won't be able to get that out to people until we stop the video.
So we have to end this real soon then. Okay.
Oh, wait, no. Hold on. Christmas is saved. I will have to shut off the Alpha Geek Radio people, but I've got
Okay.
the full thing in Alpha Geek Radio.
Rad.
So we can stay streaming on the video. Sorry, Alpha Geek Radio people, that you won't get the full post
They will
show.
be making the
But you're
sacrifice.
saving Christmas.
yes.
You are
You
saving
are
Christmas.
saving a
Actually, we could
podcast.
stay streaming. I just need to stop down and start back up again. So
Go.
with Alpha Geek Radio
pay
live
the
people, you're
random
fine.
order.
Treasure Chest people will get a separate file.
Aha. See, what I figured is you were going to just go ahead and publish the one-party consent version of DTNS.
The one part.
Yeah, I mean, I know we're both in California, but, just imagine. Use your
Just in
imagination.
case. All right. This Christmas is saved.
Christmas is
I
saved.
think. Yeah.
Just so you know, this podcast may be monitored for quality assurance.
That's how I got around DirecTV, recording my call to DirecTV to cancel.
Oh, really?
They said
Forced them?
this call may be recorded. I'm like, okay, good.
Yeah, they gave you permission. That's what that
yeah,
was.
totally. I don't know if that would hold up in a court of law or not, but
No, I'm pretty sure if somebody says you may record this, that's what that means.
all right. We are back on Alpha Geek Radio. Apologies for that.
Oh, okay, cool. I like the way you did that. Just like a little.
I did it on
Stop
the
and
YouTube
go.
video though.
Mhm.
Does
It's like
it
the
really
F-22s going across the international date line.
Yeah.
Mid-flight reboot.
All right. Now I'm gonna have to get my head into the editing game here for a little bit. But what should we call
You
this?
do
We
that.
need a
Let's
title.
figure out what to call
Hi,
it.
Jenny.
I'm back.
Jenny's back.
I'm $100 poorer and $100 richer in quarters.
Wow, that's
Whoa.
a lot of quarters.
What did you buy?
Somebody's doing laundry.
I bought $100 worth of quarters.
Oh, laundry.
Yeah.
So she's going to the slots.
Oh, I already went to the I didn't tell you. Oh my God. First of all, let's pick a title.
Yes,
Uh,
yes.
Publishing in the Dark is top vote getter from Pete Master. Nobody expects U.S. Marshals. Then we've got GM's White Hat. I think I like this one. A Node to Joy.
Oh, I love that one. I saw that one when he submitted it in the chat room. That's Beatmaster, right?
Yeah, and then Tinvec's already got Watch What You Want When You Want with nobody watching.
That's a good tagline for the episode.
And then we've got Dark Publica.
I like Node to Joy.
I like Node to Joy as well.
Yeah, drop the
You
A.
can't see my browsing now because I'm using a hidden service.
Love it.
So speaking of quarters, I get to tell you the exciting news that on the last night in Vegas, I won $700 on the quarter slots.
Oh, great.
Nice. How many quarters did you put in?
You won how much?
Please tell me less than
$699. No.
1,400.
I put in $20 in the quarter slots, and I won $700.
That's amazing.
Wow.
Yeah. It was
Congrats.
a good night.
I thought you said 700,000 at first.
No, I wouldn't be here.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question. Why are you here?
When I win the 800 million, I'll give you 100 million for the show, and then I'll leave.
Oh.
forever.
You're gonna buy the show for 100 million?
Yeah.
Wait, Tom's selling the show?
No!
That's right. You heard it here first. It's $100 million. That's all it takes.
Now, excuse me while I go do my Stitch Fix box, which just arrived. So exciting. Finally, Tom got me on Stitch Fix. The joy
It's a gateway drug.
The gateway drug.
Are you going to do an
have
unboxing video?
Send me some info on that slot. I'm going to be in Vegas for 10 days.
I'll tell you what it is right now. I'll tell the whole internet. It's really simple. I love it, and it has no logic whatsoever. It's the double diamond slot where if the things are just above or below the pay line, they go either boop boop down or boop boop up. They move after the fact, and I find that charming. And
That's
so
like cheating and Bejeweled.
Yeah, but it's just like it goes gook, and it sometimes goes gook and gives you money.
The loosest slots in Vegas.
Well, I don't know about that, but I'm real fond of them. They're like my friend.
I'm sure you are now.
No, I once won $800 on one of those.
Wow. Yeah, you're a
know.
repeat offender.
I am. Look at this.
By the way, this is pretty exciting. I can actually wear this shirt again. This shirt actually fits me again. It's the Filipino
I know. I've seen you wear that shirt before. Could you
I know,
not fit in it for a while?
I gained weight. I couldn't fit into it anymore. But I've lost the weight, so I can fit into it again.
Congratulations, man.
Where'd you lose it?
I lost it running.
Check the couch cushions.
He lost it eating adobo, pancit, lumpia,
and dinaguan, right?
and dinaguan. Loved
Yeah,
it.
I was like, hey, I think I can wear this shirt again. So that's kind of a humble brag, but yeah, I've been
No,
running
it's
a lot
just
more.
a straight up I lost weight brag.
Yeah.
Go for
Yeah,
it.
no, that's fantastic.
And it's
exciting.
February, so it's like the perfect month for that.
Oh yeah, yeah. We'll see how long. This lasts. But I'm excited.
Everybody who's doing it, keep it up.
Yeah, I will. I think I will. I really enjoy it. It's about as close as you can feel to it being a superhero. By the way, Jenny, listen to this week's new Radio Lab. I posted on Twitter that I've never had such an emotional response to a show before. It kind of completely caught me off guard. But you'll see what I mean when you listen to it. So.
That sounds good.
All right, I'm gonna log off, guys.
All right, thanks, Len.
But thank you so much. It was good being here, and let's tackle year 3.
Woo! Go year 3.
All right, we'll see you guys later.
All right, we'll talk Convey UX soon.
Yes. Okay. Take care. Bye
bye. Swamp Rat says he lost 168 pounds of ugly fat in 1990. Oh.
I know. I wasn't gonna.
Fine. That's mean.
I know it was.
That's mean.
I know. Hey, on that topic though, I'm gonna give my little recommendation. I start a new one of these every year, and I was pretty good in the last year. But this one, that's the chart. You wanna do multiple ones. So basically, you're creating streams of X's. So give yourself like a box for every day of the year, and then put an X in it. And what you're trying to do is create giant chains of X's. And it's okay if you mess up a day.
That's the Jerry Seinfeld method.
Yeah, exactly. Except I'm applying it to like lots of things now. So I'm tracking this. It's
you got a bunch of different things on there.
It's like having an old school. Yeah, I got codes for different stuff that I would want to try to do every single day, which is kind of infeasible. That I'd get an X in all 5 boxes every day, but it's still cool to track it because as soon as you do, then you're like
Yeah.
way more mindful of it.
Well, I don't do that same thing, but it has a similar effect. I put things as repeatable all-day tasks on my Google Calendar, and then I get the reward of being able to delete them once they're done.
Did you get the Google Calendar update where you can now set it as a?
Yeah, I haven't started using it that way though.
Oh.
Because it doesn't show up on the web.
What? This is like Google Tasks again, where it's only in Gmail.
Yeah, it doesn't show up on the web. It only shows up on the app on Android and iOS.
So like if there were like a timeline of Google services, there are these magical moments where everything just works. And I wish you could just snapshot those times of the Google service as a whole and just stay on that version of Google.
Yeah, I know.
Because what will happen immediately after is then they break this, and then that's broken, and these things are broken. Then they completely change direction, come out with material design. Everything looks weird for a while, and then there's another moment of serenity. It's like capture those moments of serenity.
I got nothing today. I'm so brain dead from travel.
All right, I got something weird.
Well,
but
I got to
I'm not sure
get
if it's
back
really
to
there.
Shooting Hack 5.
All right, I'm going to get to editing this audio podcast. Sorry for the delayed audio listeners, but you're not watching this, so what do you care?
Awesome to see everybody again.
All right, thanks everybody. Happy New Year.
Yep, see you the week after next.
All right, bye.
Wait, should I question, is there any edits I need to do